Are you feeling stressed for the holidays?
Oh, poor baby. Well, I'll tell you, hot off the press has some new Christmas colorist books, and Teresa has the answer to relieve your holiday stress, even this early.
We also have some half and half cutting die and stamp sets.
Right.
Can't wait to show you.
Lots of fun things and lots of great techniques. Come play with us. Well, here is the whole collection that we were talking about. Let's start with the colorist, and then we can do these when we're bringing in projects.
Okay.
Does that work for you?
That sounds fine. So here's that stress-relieving product we were talking about.
That you were so sympathetic about.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we have Christmas greetings for colorists, and like the first 4 colorist books, there are 14 sheets. There are 2 sheets of each design.
Right, and if you haven't gotten into any of these yet, these are great. They're a great size for card making, also for just carrying around in your purse for wherever.
Well, as I was at the DMV this last Monday, because my driver's license expired on Monday, you can put these in your purse and be doing something while you're waiting in line.
Or at the airport.
Right, dashing. Isn't that just fun?
Beautiful. Just beautiful.
Very large.
Some great, this is on cardstock. There are 2 of each of the images that you're seeing. So you can do 2 different cards, or you can combine them and cut them out, sort of paper towel style. We've done that.
Teresa calls this subway art. So they're all
I
juxtaposed.
thought that was pretty interesting, and I love the tags and labels as well.
That's what I love about this too, because it really makes them usable, so that you've got an element that you can do your greeting, stamp on it, write on it, do computer journaling.
So you can use this for card making.
And then you get them all again. And because it's from hot off the press, you are going to see ideas.
Lots of ideas
on the packaging.
On both sides of that packaging, and you're going to see some of those.
And the second one is Christmas Ornaments for colorists.
This one.
And very fun. There's a gift bag idea. Very nice. Just nice to be able to use your artwork.
Right.
And
so lots of different kinds. I mean, they have nice framed borders, or you can just use the center area. You can turn them this way. You can turn them that way. Wonderful.
Cut them apart. Again, more of the labels, and 2 of every single thing that we've shown you in both of them.
And this is great. The cardstock is great for using watercolor pencils, blendable pencils.
It's an 80-pound cover, so it's what you would normally see on the cover.
Paint on them. You can spritz. You can spray. Well, I could go on.
Lots and lots and lots.
Maybe we better see something.
There they are. But you know what? I did that out of sequence because we're really going to start with the half and half.
Well, I thought they were pretty cool. It was fun to look at them, but we are going to start with some half and half projects.
Right. And the half and half is half cutting dies, half matching stamps, all together in one package.
And that is pretty new and unique for us too. And
Right.
We've got our great acrylic stamp, so it makes it easy to stamp on those cutting dies.
You know, and most of the time, if you see them packaged together, you get little tiny things.
Okay.
And these are a really nice size. You can
more
see,
substantial. That's wonderful.
Right. Plus, you get the words, you get the little elements to complete. And here we go with an example.
And there are those snowflakes right off the bat. So they have been die cut out of pattern paper, but they have also been stamped on with those great stamps.
Right, and
that's kind of a blue ink there.
And you can see the variety of sizes. That's nice to have in one collection. And this is the Fresh Frost. Also, the Season's Greetings stamp is in there.
It comes with the stamps. I love how detailed those stamps are. That is so fine and detailed. They're just,
that's what we want.
They're gorgeous stamps, and they hold up.
Right.
Those stamps, they last lots. They last, well, I don't even know if they don't last.
We haven't lived long enough, have we?
Right, to know if they don't last forever.
Now, to set them off and give them a bit of shine, added the silver jewel dazzles and the silver jewel border dazzles. They are in 2 different finishes, and they just do a really nice job of adding sparkle.
This is the simplest use of the half and half set. You cut, you make the die cut, you stamp on it, but then Teresa gets us into something a little more involved.
Look what the woman has done.
And just beautiful.
Wow. Now this is, let's start with what it is. The Inside Out Snowflake die cut cards. Now we showed those to you on Monday of this week, I believe, and Teresa has done several fun things. As we probably would expect. Number one, she has turned it going vertically instead of sideways, although you could do both.
Right.
And she's added some wonderful layering to it.
Right. She has also stamped on it
right.
with the different stamps, and in different colors. She's got all across that stamp going in the different colors, which is just beautiful. But then she stamped these onto, well, first she cut out from watercolor paper. She cut out these little snowflakes that you see. She treated them, which I'm going to show you how she treated them, and then she stamped on top of them.
And should I go on to the last thing she did?
Go ahead.
Okay. She also added the glitter adhesive, and that is an amazing thing, and I've lost it
and
there.
And so she stamped onto cardstock. She stamped on cardstock, or pattern paper. She stamped on the pattern paper first with that Season's Greetings, and then covered the strip with this. This is the glitter transparent adhesive. Acetate, right.
So I'm just going to pull a corner.
But it is self-adhesive.
It's self-adhesive. So after you've done whatever you want to do, just pop this little puppy on top, and you have a gorgeous look.
A gorgeous look. You could
no
put that
glitter.
You could put that over the snowflakes before you die cut them
as
well, and have glittered die
And
cut.
what I mean is that you're not going to have glitter transferred anywhere because it's underneath the plastic.
So it's a very smooth surface on top. Now see, there's a lot of glitter on there. You can see right through there to that message. So if you stamp something, you want it to be a little bit darker so that you can see through it very well.
Sure.
That's just gorgeous.
She added some pearls, and then and she also punched the
holes.
right there. And then this is the die cut that comes with it.
Right.
And you can see that she's also added some color to.
Right. She used some Wink of Stella as well. There's a clear Wink of Stella used. But I want to get back to those snowflakes that are on the front.
Okay.
Right. Step one, you die cut a snowflake from watercolor paper. So you've used that die cut, and then you get out your aqua pens, your Spectrum aqua pens, and they come in different sets. This one was the primary set.
Okay.
I've got a couple of them from that set. These are great.
Should I show you the whole set?
Yeah, please.
There it is.
It's a great set. All of the sets are great, but this is a nice kind of primary. It's got lots of different colors in it.
Aqua pens.
Aqua pens, because they're water-based, and so you can do a lot with them with the water-based. First, I want to show you this end. See that super fine tip? We did talk about the Colorist, and we're going to show you more later. These are perfect for Colorist, for using on the Colorist pages. They're just all very fine lined, but on the other end you get this great big brush tip, and that really helps to apply the color quickly. I'm going to spritz this with a little water, so just to get it wet, to sort of give a base to what we're going to do, and then you start coloring different areas. Just
kind of using the side of it.
Right, just like a brush, looks like a paintbrush, sort of coloring around different areas. You want it wet first, so it'll sort of absorb and move around with the water, and then you move on to the other pen and sort of blend them together. And because it is water-based, it's gonna, see, I can see that I got a little bit more water on this side of it than the other. You can sort of see that right, you can see that right away. I want to color over the whole thing. And then she said she used the water brush, which we talked about earlier this week. Get it pretty wet, and just really helps to blend it together.
Oh, so you
like
can control it a little bit more with the water brush.
Just want to get it nice and wet so that they blend really well. And every time you do this, you get a little bit different look. If it gets too light, then you can just add a little bit more color on top of it. Like if I just got a little bit of water there, I could add a little bit more right there, and it'll pick it up and it'll blend right in because of all the water. And so that's pretty in and of itself, just that way. Once it dries, it looks like this.
Yes.
No, or one version of it does. Depends on how you color it in.
It's been fun seeing the different color combinations this whole week.
Right, lots of different things for Christmas, pinks and purples and whatnot. So then you take the stamp, and because you can see through the stamp, you'll be able to stamp right on top of that, just seeing through. And she used a Surfaces ink, and it's kind of a Caribbean blue-green, and that's what she stamped on top to get that look.
Let me bring that back.
After she stamped, she went over it with the clear Wink of Stella brush pen.
You can see that glitter. Hopefully you can see it on the top one.
It's just a really pretty look, and that's fun to do, I think.
Very nice. So lots going on. I appreciate the fact that although we did create stamps that went with the
The
Christmas,
inside,
right?
Right, the inside out cards.
Right,
Is
but
that what
also but also that the half and halves will work perfectly.
Right.
So you kind of don't want to limit yourself and
Sure.
Take a chance, see if it's going to work.
Well,
so
and what's
very
nice
fun.
about I love that she
Or
stamped
stamping,
all over the whole
yeah.
thing. So she opened this up when she did it and stamped all over.
Right.
It's nice to have all of those different products sort of close at hand, just sort of sitting around your craft table where you can see them, so it can sort of spark an idea.
Right, there
Right.
you go. Okay, we're going to move on. Same set. This time she has combined it with something we worked with the other day, the Wonderland Artful Card Kit. And this has that die cut window in it, as well as the background papers and these die
Which
cuts.
is beautiful, but what's really sort of popping is those snowflakes behind.
look
They're
at that.
multicolored snowflake.
Wow.
And then they are embossed with white embossing powder on top of them. But how she created those snowflakes is really interesting. So I'm going to pull this in.
Okay.
She took the die cuts, and you see this white piece of
cutting
paper
die.
on top, the cutting die, excuse me, the cutting dies, and she die cut several snowflakes on just a scrap piece of paper, whatever she had laying around, and then she laid that on top of the cardstock she was going to be coloring, and she applied
So she made her
distress
own
ink.
stencil,
She
right?
made her own stencil,
Okay.
and I've got shaded lilac, bundled sage, and tumbled glass distress inks. And just very briefly, she did use the art daubers, and so you just grab one and start applying the ink through the stencil. She wanted to make sure that that you are aware that when you do this, you have these tiny little arms that you have to sort of be careful with. Try to go toward the center of the snowflake when you're doing it. But this is what she did. You just apply the different inks, and then you can change colors and sort of combine the colors around as you go.
Very icy looks, isn't
Right.
it?
And then when you lift it up, you'll have these great snowflakes.
And you'll have them already positioned.
Already positioned, and then you just go in with your stamp and Versamark and white embossing powder and
Wow.
emboss on top of them.
Isn't that pretty? I love the whole, well, you could use that with a lot of different things on top of it.
Sure.
Just gorgeous.
Beautiful, and I love the window in front of it. That's just a
And on the
perfect
inside, she's taken one of the cutouts from the Artful Card Kit, as well as the die cuts from that same set.
So it's a nice combination.
Right.
Very nice.
Very, very pretty. Okay, now we're going to trip over to the half and half stockings.
Okay.
Two cutting dies, one a straight stocking and one kind of a little, little curl toe.
Love that. Maybe
And
an
then
elf toe.
An elf toe, and then multiple stamps to go with it. But we're not done with that. We also have words. We also have extra little embellishments.
Border
Yeah.
treatments, ho-ho. It's very fun. And I love that there are different patterns on each one of those. And one of
Yes.
them is almost a solid pattern. That's a great look too.
Okay, so here is what, well, by the way, there are ideas on the back because you know who we are.
As per
Yes.
usual.
So here is one. The stockings were hung by the banner with
By
care.
the banner, right. So that banner is like what they're hanging on, lots of little ribbon treatments there at the top. So this was actually paper pieced. She
Right.
stamped it several times on several different kinds of paper. This is from the Christmas Sweets paper pack, and then cut them out individually and layered them back on top of it after she stamped.
And on the cuff of the stocking, she's used this stamp as well as something else that's on
Something
here
else.
that I'm not seeing right now. It might
The
be part of
snowflakes?
this.
The snowflakes,
Ah,
maybe.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's fun.
Yeah, that works really nicely, and like having these coming in at opposite directions.
Right.
Hung with care.
Hung with care.
And that's
Very
part of the
sweet.
stamp set.
Yeah.
And then inside one that's all by itself. Merry Christmas, adding some jewel dazzles. Just really, really
A
sweet.
very simple thing to do with the die cuts. It's just all ready to go.
Now here's another twist.
cutting dies.
The cutting dies.
Okay.
And these were stamped, as you can see.
I love this look because it's just you're stamping with just two different inks. So these are fluid chalk inks. There's a green and there's like a black cherry. I can't remember what it's clover and black cherry. So what I like about this is the one in the middle especially. This was stamped with the clover. Okay, so you're seeing the green. Even down at the bottom, you see the green stamp, but then colored in with Spectrum Noir pens, the red at the bottom and at the top.
So same thing there.
Right, stamped in the
Very
green and then
cute.
color in just a little bit of it with Spectrum Noir pen.
And she added, that believe is from the Tiny Christmas Word Dazzles. That's a new collection.
And it's perfect for all your Christmas
Yeah.
cards, for tight little spaces where you have to fit in a smaller greeting.
And it has 75 words on that one
Right.
sheet. Not bad.
And
that's
also,
that's
yeah.
exactly how you would use those small words.
Right.
They're going to be perfect.
For small spaces, but also the poinsettias, the poinsettia
Yes.
dazzles.
This is a 3-pack, so you're going to get the poinsettias in gold, pearl, as well as red. You can see that edging, and then you get all the leaves, so you can do exactly what Teresa has
You
done.
can add all sorts of little
We're
embellishments
getting closer
there.
so you can see how she layered them.
It also has these tiny little sort of star dazzles, so they're great for layering on top
Yeah.
of those stamped images.
So very pretty. On the inside, one stocking. You can see how it has been
Seems
stamped.
to be a theme. 3 on the front
Yeah.
and 1 inside.
And good tidings there. Also, notice what she's done with the pattern paper and with the
The
holographic.
green circles holographic, that's
And
great. little
that's
touch.
what that
Just
looks
adding
like.
a little extra green to that, it sort of matches that holly really well too.
It does, doesn't it?
So
And
that's
just
a
a
fun-
nice pizzazz, a little punch to it, very fun.
So that's a fun card, but
And
look what
my
else you can
favorite
do.
is turning those stockings into Halloween.
So that's great. Witches stockings, trick
Yes.
or treat, and this is just such a cute look. So you can use them for multiple things, not just Christmas.
Now, our witches stockings are not the ordinary stockings.
No.
They have black velvet on them.
Yes, they
of
do.
course, in the heels and the cuffs, you just want to pay attention to that. And
So just beautiful.
Teresa also used for her
Beautiful.
trick or treat. You can see it there. This is out of the trick or treat
So
dazzles.
that's kind of a high class witch. She's got
It
the
is.
suede stockings.
Doggone right. And this is also, I'm sure, a design tool. I
design
think it's
toolkit.
number 2.
Oh, I'm not sure. But that sure
actually.
is it's a great use. I
There we
love
go.
that. Using that for your focal to sort
can
of
see
get
that
this.
large
I
shape.
see. There we go. So you can get that nice big plaque right on the front.
Right.
So that's really cute.
What
Doesn't
is
just have to be Christmas.
Or it doesn't just have to be a card. Did
There
you
you
like
go.
that? Wasn't that clever?
That was excellent.
Okay.
I love the ribbon hanging with all the stockings
Isn't that a
hanging
clever
on
way?
it up here. So that's great.
And these were just stamped onto the pattern
Onto
paper.
pattern papers,
pieced.
they were paper pieced so we could get the different patterns. And then she went around with a pen and did some stitch work.
Oh,
Just
bit of
adding,
pen work.
yeah. And you know the aqua pens are great for that. I'm not quite sure what she used, but that's kind of a colored pen,
Mm-hmm.
and there's such fine tips. They would be really great for that.
And I do want to explain about this page that when you have a granddaughter, you want to teach her very early how to hang Christmas ornaments. We started
Absolutely.
when she was 1.5 years.
Very good.
And that way she can learn how to do necklaces. It comes in handy later on. But Penelope decided that she was going to be the present. So
see.
she climbed under the tree and she giggled and said she was going to be our present. So we're going to try to unwrap her some way. But
Very sweet. So this is a great page for that. But we're also
Look.
seeing our first hint of the
Yes.
Colorist ornaments here.
And this is again, because of the size, you can use them. And I just think that's such a tremendous bonus.
Right. You don't just have to leave it on that sheet. You can cut them out. And these were
Right.
colored in with Spectrum Noir pens. So it's a
were.
nice colors that match those papers.
And here
Okay.
is another look that Teresa did. So as we showed you at the beginning, is that many of them have borders around them.
Right.
So
Some of them have
see.
very unique borders. Some of them
Yeah.
are square. Some
There
of
we
them
go.
have this great edging
Whoops.
around them. That was the one that was on the page.
It was. Well,
It's in
it's in
there.
here.
It's in there somewhere.
Trust me, it's in here. There we go. First page. Okay, so
Okay.
it has this border. So she elected to cut around that, and then she could foam tape that
Right.
onto the front
You know,
of her
usually
card.
we accomplish that by using a design toolkit.
We do.
But this is right there on the Colorist page, so
Right.
that's a nice treat there. And this
And-
is with the Christmas chalkboard paper pack.
It is, and so you can see that, as you know, to make an easel, you simply score halfway along the front, parallel to the fold, and that's where you're going to glue, is to that lower front.
Right.
And then it will do this, and you can make it stand up
So
Just
isn't that
like
great?
so.
Underneath the label that was used from the Christmas chalkboard papers, there's a label from the Colorist that was used
There we go.
to give a little background to that focal.
So very, very
sweet.
nice.
Now, I'm pretty sure these were done with watercolor pencils. That I can see sort of blending. Oh no, these might have been the aqua pens actually.
Okay.
You know, it's in the gallery.
It's in the gallery.
But obviously there are so many different ways of using it.
There we go. And here is another look. And I think this is really worth just kind of stopping for a moment of going along the outside edge and doing some, adding in some ink.
Just with a cosmetic sponge.
Or a blending tool.
Right, and just add that around the edge. Now that gives it depth, a lot of depth. So you want to leave that white in the center to really showcase the items that are in the center.
And I think Dreaming of a White Christmas is just quite perfect there.
Beautiful. I think these could be the blendable pencils.
Okay.
There's a lot of color going on there.
And this was trimmed out, as you can see, just right along the edge, matted on the violet suede, and then also placed on the silver linen. So just adding a beautiful look to this card.
Just a little bit of extra sparkle there.
And there's one of the other elements that's also in the Colorist. So what you need is right there. What you can do then is change your colors any way you want.
Right.
Here is another, and this also has that glitter acetate on top.
So this is great. You can just color these in. You can use watercolor pencils, you can use pens, you can aqua pens, Spectrum Noir pens, whatever you like, and then cover the whole piece with that glitter acetate, and
so
such
easy.
a beautiful look.
And there are 5 8.5 by 11 sheets that come in the package, so quite a bit. Then you can see how this was cut out, the label was stamped and also glittered.
I love how this looks like a present. So we've got that like ribbon, and then that looks like a bow right there.
Now if you wanted to add dazzles, you could do it underneath the glitter or on top.
Sure.
In this case, she added some of the black rhinestones on top.
So that's a cute look. A little bit of twine over on the right side of that label. Oh, and twine hanging the ornaments.
And on this case, she did the glitter on each one separately. So that's another way. You can go over the whole thing or do them separately and trim them out.
And then cut them out.
Very nice, very nice.
Another great look.
Now, we also have, going into the greetings, is this one. And it is just stunning.
This is beautiful. This is done with one of the pencils. It's either the blendable pencils or the watercolor pencils. I think it's the blendable pencils.
Be merry, spread joy, words to live by, and make peace. We like that.
Absolutely beautiful. And I love it. So it's done like a placard on the top of this card.
Added some of the gold dazzles. We'll back up a little bit.
Going off the edge. I like that it's going off the fold up at the top. That makes more of a statement.
Now when you do that, though, you are going to, so this is also the Christmas
chalkboard papers.
Right. But if you make it larger, you're going to need to make an envelope. And
the envelope punch board is perfect for making a beautiful envelope, and then you can decorate it in any way that you like, including one of the labels from the Colorist set.
And you'll see in the directions that on the punch board, there wasn't a size for this particular size card. So Teresa will give you a way to go around that and to make the punch board work for you. So that works nicely. So just a beautiful envelope, as you can see.
It's gorgeous.
Gorgeous, gorgeous.
Okay.
Now we have more. Here is this same design.
A little bit different way of using this. So you can see that it's ivory colored, because first it was gone over with a very pale
Starts out white.
ink, with a pale ink like a bisque or something like that, a fluid chalk ink. You rub it all over the whole thing, and then you go over all of those details with stickles.
With stickles, with gold, with
red, with blue, with green.
Yes.
So just beautiful. You can use any color you want, and it makes it such a special card.
And with stickles, just in case you're not familiar, it does have this needle nose applicator. So you're just simply going to squeeze it on and go pretty carefully and slowly and to fill that in. And I think the biggest thing to remember is let it dry.
Yes.
Don't let anyone touch it,
Don't
not
touch
even me.
No, just put a little note on it that says, Paulette, do not touch.
Yeah, because it's been an issue around the office. So
She just can't help it. She sees it, she goes, ooh, pretty, and picks it up and touches it. And
Ooh,
it's just-
pretty, and
it's
then
all over.
yeah. So we really try to be careful of our certain elements that have to happen. And then we're moving on to another. Here is a framed piece, and I think this
great.
is clever.
This is definitely with the blendable pencils. This much I remember now.
It's coming back, is it?
And
We're getting close to
This
see.
is what she called subway art, which is an interesting thing to me, an interesting term. And color each one of them a different color. Go around, add your colors, blend them with the paper stamps and the blending solution, and you get just a gorgeous look. Now that would just be fun, and that's what I think of when I think of the colorist pages. They are just fun to just sit and add color to.
And Teresa added the thin line dazzles, the black ones. There are 63 in this package because they're really thin. And that's what you see here
on the
and
edges,
on the other side.
and in between the words.
And in between too?
In between the words,
Okay.
she's got lots of little accents. But this is great. This is in a nice little frame, so perfect for decorating for the holidays.
What a nice gift. A gift
sure.
for a family.
Yeah.
How really, really nice. So you can have fun, relax, and then you get a gift done too. Wow,
Right.
it can't be any better than that. Now, I did kind of mix up the colorists a little bit. We're back to the ornaments, and Gail did this, and to put it on a gift bag, I think is brilliant.
It's just fun, and this one was fun to create, but there's something in particular that I did with it. It is paper toll style, you'll notice. And so I was able to do that because there are 2 of each image. But to get 3 layers like that, you might look at it and go, wait a minute, how did she get 3 on there when there's only 2 images?
See, and the 3 that she's talking about is this is 1, this is 2, and that's 3.
And that's 3.
Yeah.
And so it was a little bit tricky, and I want to show you what I did. I had 2 images, and I cut the center out of the one that was going to be on the bottom. So I cut the center out, and I used that. Okay, I used this one. I cut out the entire ornament. I placed that center one I cut down from here on top of this one. Whoops. And then foam taped it on top of that one. So it's a little tricky. I knew you wouldn't be able to see that, so I'd be able to use it for an additional piece.
Okay.
So that's how I did that. As far as coloring the ornament,
One thing you did is that you did the same thing as on the houses, is you went around the edge with color in an ink pad to give that yellow, just that glow on the outside. Very pretty.
So that's how you start, is you start by getting a sponge, you go around the edges like that. I did use the #1 mini distress ink pad set, and you don't see a green in here, but you do see green on that ornament. So the way to accomplish that, just so that you know that I didn't throw in some other little green ink pad, is I place down, and I do it just like that, onto a craft sheet, and I'm using this plastic sheet right at the moment.
Sheet protector?
Yeah, sheet protector. And then I put down some teal, and I put down some yellow, and then I mix them together. And when you do that, you get
Blue
green.
and yellow make green.
Yeah, so I used green, and then you can use that for the details, to paint in details, like if I want to paint in behind here. I'm not quite sure where I put it yet. I'm just sort of showing you that you can also add a little bit of water to that to tone it down, but that's all I did.
Okay. The other thing you did is to add the gold sparkles holographic paper as a mat. And then this is the value again of the Colorist, is that you have this piece, so you could write, in this case, this is the tiny Christmas words dazzles, but you could certainly stamp, write to someone. So it just makes it all together just quite distinctive and useful, and that's so nice.
So in this case, the gift bag is sort of part of the gift, and I just think that's a fun treatment for somebody
and
special.
reusable. Now we have one final, and this is also out of the Christmas greetings for Colorists, and this is quite fun. It's using the Sarah Surface. This is the 6x6 album. It comes just like this. It's a craft album,
and you can
it has
leave it like that.
Sheet protectors inside.
Right, it's got those posts on the end, and you can leave it just like that, and just do all your treatment separately, and then place it on here. So we also use the pink heart holographic paper there.
And here's a whole big,
so just a beautiful
8.5 by 11
big old chunk of that, and then
Pink Hearts Christmas. Well, of course.
White jewel dazzles along here. And the way I did this in particular, I've got my craft sheet, I've got that piece here, and I used the Perfect Airbrush. This is just kind of a fun tool, and every once in a while I'll do it if I want to spray just the right color, because you can use the Spectrum Noir pens. It's great that you can pick out whatever color you want.
This is probably the least expensive way to get an airbrush look that I've ever seen.
Right, it is. And you know, I wouldn't do this on really huge areas because you know your hand might get a little tired, but it's fun for just extra accents.
Just show how you position that, because that's critical.
I am gonna pull this out first, because within the barrel, when you get it, there is a separate piece in here that holds smaller pens. I removed that, and you can replace it when you use other kinds of pens, because it will hold lots of different pens. But I use the chisel point, and when I place it in there, I try to make sure that it is angled like so that when it goes over that, it's going to be blowing off the end of that. Now, you can experiment. If you go further and it's not working very well, then pull it back a little bit. If you go this much, it's not going to work well. Play with it and then test it to make sure that it's doing what you want.
Halfway up.
Right, about halfway up. And then you point the nozzle at where you want it to work. Okay, I'm doing this and I'm not getting much of anything to happen, so I'm going to adjust it a little bit. Maybe I'll put it a little further up and then try it again. And there you go. Now you can see it working. And depending on how far up you go, you're going to get different amount of spray, a different kind of spray. So that's what I did. I basically went out around the edges with that, and then I added a yellow as well.
And that lets you control what's going on. So you're just getting the corner treatments around the edges of this.
And then you can go back and color in. Then you get to have fun coloring in each one of those things. And after you color in all of the different elements with your different pens, I used pinks and yellows and a green.
Of course you
then
did.
You get to use, if you want to, 3D crystal lacquer, and that really gives a beautiful pop, as you'll see.
Yeah, let's get in really close to see that. So it gives a clear dimension onto.
It's got a fine tip as well.
Go ahead and bring that in.
So there's this fine, I don't know if you can see, there we go. This fine tip, so you can sort of put it right where you want it and sort of push it around just on the lettering, which is what I do.
Yeah, in this one you did it over love, you did it over light, and you did it over Christmas.
Right.
So not only is there a shine, but there's also, it's raised, so it almost looks like it's clear embossed.
Right. I also did it, if you notice, on those tiny little light bulbs, like little glass light bulbs, because it was just fun.
Very, very nice.
So fun, lots of different things you can do with those Colorist coloring books, relieve stress with your Christmas colorists.
And make Christmas gifts at the same time. And then we have the half and halves with stockings and snowflakes. And this brings us to the end of Teresa's Look at Christmas, Week of Webisodes. Thank you for joining us, Teresa. As always, thank you for the wonderful projects.
And I learned lots of new techniques, so I hope you did too.
And we'll see you again.
Okay.